Free from fins. Chapter 9. Daniel's request to build the ship was approved, which worried Daniel how quickly his father agreed to the idea. How could his father be so set on war? Daniel, of course, knew the reasons. Not all merfolk were innocent, that being Elsa, a threat that would have been a greater problem if Bree hadn't warned him. Elsa's plans had been changed. They all knew this from her time spent around King Philip. Minta made sure to keep an eye out for Daniel's father, and she already reported that Elsa was adding rumors of merfolk in the king's mind. The ship, by this time, was halfway done, thanks to the hurry King Philip was to be prepared for battle. Daniel just hoped that he would get word from Baldwin by the end of the night as he waited in the rowboat with Bree for the second night. Bree sat across from him, playing with the water. Daniel smiled as he heard her hum a tune. He realized it was the same tune she sang to him when she saved him those nights ago. "How did that song go?" Daniel asked. Bree looked up, tucking her blue hair behind her ear. "I don't think it would be a good idea if I sang. I'm sorry I was even humming." "All right, can you at least tell me what you said?" She glanced at the moon in thought. "Turn your head away. Live to sing another day. Travel oh so fast until you reach the shore at last." Daniel nodded, paused, and then asked, "Do you think he'll come tonight?" Bree went back to playing with the water, the tips of her fingers brushing the surface. "I think the same as last night. He's too stubborn. If he did come, I dare say he'd probably try to kill you." Suddenly an arm popped out and took Bree's hand, making her and Daniel jump. The hand didn't jerk her under, but it rose until Bree saw her mother's face. Bree gasped and hugged her mother, rocking the boat. Queen Adela laughed. "Careful dear, I don't want you to get wet." This time Bree laughed. "Never thought you'd say that. Never thought you would run away and become human," Queen Adela remarked before she remembered the prince was there. "You wanted to speak with my husband?" Daniel nodded respectfully. "Yes, Your Majesty. I did. I want friendship between our people. I think both sides are afraid of the unknown, and that's something we shouldn't fight over." "Tell her about your dream," Bree said. "My dream, yes. You see, I had this dream this morning from the Creator. She told me to build a battleship." The queen's eyes narrowed, so he cleared up her misconception, "A battle against a beast, not your people. I think there's something else we need to worry about. It has to do with Elsa. She's in the castle right now making my father dead set on war." Queen Adela sighed. "Well, there is a backstory behind her presence here." She looked at Bree ready to explain. "I know, Mother. Father put her up to it, but we must prepare for this beast." Bree looked into her mother's eyes, pleading with her. Her mother stroked Bree's face with compassion. Bree's eyes started to water as she realized what this meant. Bree shook her head furiously, taking a firm grip on her mother's hand. She couldn't ignore this. She was the queen of Baldwin. "Mother, don't you dare!" Bree shouted as her mother slowly slipped back into the water. Before her mother's head was under, the queen said, "There's not enough to support your claims. No monsters are attacking us aside from humans." Bree lost her mother's hand in the sea below. Daniel carefully moved to Bree to give her comfort as she grew weak. She didn't understand why people could never give an ounce of faith in something that was yet to come or that was unseen. Instead, they lived their lives based on rules and what they saw in the here and now. "We got what we wanted," she said on his shoulder. "They came." Daniel brushed his hand over Bree's hair. "Hey, it's going to be fine. We know that your soul is no longer Elsa's. Your father did what fathers do best." Bree looked up at Daniel. "If only he could hear you say that. Surely my mother saw the goodness in you? It will all work out. I promise. We have the ship nearly done, thanks to my father's haste. We have followed what the Creator asked. His words comforted her for a small moment before something caught Bree's eye from the shore. Light. It wasn't Topsy or Minta. Bree knew this for certain. I'm going to perish, Bree said flatly. Daniel looked behind him. His eyes fell as he realized what she meant. His father had found out about their little plan, and even if that wasn't the case, it still looked very, very bad for them. He swore he could even see the evil grin of Elsa and the angered king from the distance, though the only thing he could see was the faint glow. For the first time in his life, he wanted to throw everything he knew away and act selfishly. If he went back to shore, his father would execute Bree. They were already in a boat and out of reach. They could run away and be together. Sure, they didn't have food or supplies, but they could travel to the shores of Effa within a day. But that would mean leaving their people to ruin. And Daniel knew that Bree would eventually turn back into a mermaid. However, Effa had wizards and witches like Elsa. Perhaps they could create a permanent enchantment. His mind swam with what was practical and what was abstract. He looked at Bree and said, I'll do whatever you tell me. Bree swallowed, take us to shore.